to a second week of the NTT IndyCar Series preview show. Here's our second week in a row, I should have said. We've had every other week kind of thing going on. Now we're 2 weeks in a row before a week off next week. This weekend we're going to preview the doubleheader in Iowa. So instead of doing race specific, we're going to look at the weekend in general. But let's start with the top 5 things we're going to break down today for this week's race. But before we start, I want to make sure you guys sign up for our Discord community where you can ask me any questions you have for the race week, whether it be NASCAR or IndyCar. I've got it on my phone, so I'll be able to see it and hopefully get back to you at a quick enough time to help you out. Same for the NASCAR fans. You can find a link to our preview show. It'll be in the description area. We're about to film that too, so that'll be here by the time you see this video anyways. And it says show more, pop-up of links, additional info will appear. So that's where you're going to find us for the IndyCar and NASCAR show. Again, Discord app. Be sure to join our community, and I'll be sure to answer anything that you may have. But first, let's look at the points for the IndyCar weekend here in Iowa. And let's go to point 1, which will be Alex Palou and Lundgaard. They're finding their comfort zone in the NTT IndyCar Series these days. They're the 2 drivers that I feel like we need to keep an eye out on for the final 7 races. They've won 5 of the last 6, including 4 in a row. And if you start by the last couple of weeks talking to them, you can hear the comfort level in each, which to me is scary from the field. Ben Johnson, part of the Zoom call a few weeks ago with Alex Palou, asked him a good question, and this was his response to the question about getting comfortable this year compared to last.
Come from you this season, do you put that down to your relationship with your crew, or is it just you've just come together really well this season?
Tough to say, honestly. I would say I have more confidence with the car. I have more. I know exactly. Well, I know a little bit more what I need from the car, and the same for the team. They know what I need. They know what works for me, what it doesn't. While in 2021 we were just guessing and trying stuff. Sometimes worked, sometimes it didn't. 22 we understood a little bit more, and this year I just have more confidence with myself, with the car, and obviously with the team. So yeah, it's tough to say. I don't think it's one thing. I would say it's a little bit of a lot of things that are helping us be more consistent. Excellent.
Well, best of luck this weekend. And
you listen to those comments and think of what he's been doing here as of late. And I think your mic's on, Greg. I can hear myself again. Okay, now we're good. For what he's done for when he started off here, he had 1 top 5 finish and 3 top 10s and 14 starts with Coyne. Ganassi took a chance on him for 2021. He didn't have much going on. Ganassi needed a car or driver for the 10 car, and they decided to bring Palou in on a multiple-year deal to just kind of a prove yourself, but we're going to give you time. Kind of a sweetheart deal, per se. Didn't pay him a whole lot, but it was let's see what you can do. Well, he won 3 times in 16 races in 2021, 10 top 5 finishes, 12 top 10s, 137 laps led, and he won the championship. Last year, they had the contract issue drama going on. They worked out the details, and here he is. Now he's got a top 5 finish in 10 of his last 11 starts. He's got a stretch going coming into this weekend where he's finished first, fourth, first, and second. And the 4th was an outlier in the Indy 500 to where he was in on pit lane by Rinus VeeKay. He went to the back and still came back up. So that's in 43 starts now with Ganassi. He's had a podium in 20 races, and he's just now saying he's getting comfortable. That to me is scary for the field because if he's finding comfort now and he knows what to tell him, he's doing this. Imagine what it's going to do the second half of the season. Which, if you listen to what Lundgaard told me last week, just last Wednesday, this is before he won the pole and before he won the race, he told me something similar. And if you look at his stats, I think the best is yet to come for him too. And here's what he told me just last Wednesday, in fact.
Mentioned last week, 2 weeks ago, that he felt like in Mid-Ohio the car was kind of responding to what he wants out of it better. I know this is only you've only been doing this a year and a half. This isn't even 2 full years yet. Do you feel like you have much input yet in what you want out of the car, or are you still kind of trial by error of learning the comfort level yet?
No, I would say I was pretty much comfortable as soon as I've basically I mean, last year we saw certain tracks where it took me a while to just figure stuff out. But I would say this year we've been fast in pretty much all practice one sessions, and to me that just indicates that okay, I've been to all these tracks now. I'm comfortable in the team. I'm comfortable in the series. I'm comfortable in the car. And we've been. I mean, I didn't really need to go out early in the session just to run laps. We're actually going out straight away with our run plan and not having to deal with all the trying to figure stuff out. So I guess to really answer your question, I mean, I'm very comfortable in the car. I know exactly what I need, exactly what I want. And that's where the three drivers come in, where it's tough for a team to fix and get a car that fits three different driving styles. Yeah.
No, go ahead. I say my last one is, now that we are in the second half of the year, what are some of the goals you?
And for him, he's seeing these tracks for the second time. And as he was saying to me, he's finding more comfort. You got to think, when he got the Sebring last year in the summer test, that was a momentum turner for him. He had 5 top 10 finishes in the final 8 races, including a pair of top 5s. And now he's feeling even more better. He qualified better this year, where he started in the same track in 8 of the 10 races. One of the remaining 2, he was 31st in both years for the Indy 500. In Texas, he was 25th and 27th. So they're similar. And then he's also finished better in 8 of those 10 races compared to last year. The only 2 he wasn't was 19th in Texas both years, and he was 14th in Bellagio last year, but 16th in downtown Detroit this year. So it's kind of apples to oranges for those 2. Outside of that, he's improving everywhere. Street courses, natural road courses. Ovals have been the outlier for him, and here we are going to an oval this weekend. So I'm curious how he'll react to that. But you listen to what him and Pelot are saying, and they're pretty similar about finding comfort in the series now, which to me is scary when they're doing what they've been doing. So those are the 2 I want to watch. In the test, Pelot was 4th at Iowa. Lundgaard was 6th last month. So we're going to roll into the second topic, because that test is going to be a good segue into Chevy skipping the test. And granted, I use Chevy. I use it as a broad term. A couple Chevy teams are there, but the top Chevy teams were not. And the Honda teams were. And where this is big is Honda has won all but 3 races this season. They've won all but 1 pole this season as well. There's 5 races remaining in the season, and Chevy has been downright dominant at Iowa. So this is a good chance with 2 races for them to capitalize. But how much did Honda learn? And here's what Will Power said. This was just on a Zoom call yesterday about that topic exactly.
All these other teams will have closed the gap a bit, because it is a doubleheader race. So if you're going into the off season after last year, you would focus pretty hard on that because of the points available. So maybe Ganassi's a bit better, and we know McLaren's good there. And yeah, I don't know. I don't think Andretti tested there. Oh yes, they did. They did.
Yep.
They did. Yeah, copy. So yeah,
and for Power there,
pretty,
with what he's saying, he also went on to say, why would they test at a place that they've been so good at? Let's use that test and go elsewhere to where we have a deficiency at, where Honda has basically had a huge deficiency there, so they're going to use the test to try to improve. So he's basically saying that it's closing the gap. And their test, unfortunately for him, like he said, they went to Road America, and Road America went well, and then they showed back up in the race weekend last month, and it was a different tire. So it didn't exactly help. Iowa here, it should really help these Honda teams. But how much does it help them? That's the thing. Last year, Chevy swept the podium both days. They took 4 of the top 5 spots on the Saturday race, which those are the only cars on the lead lap. And the Sunday race, they went 1, 2, 3. So how much can Honda close the gap in one test? Is that going to work? Chevy's got 7 wins in the last 8 Iowa races at Worldwide Technology Raceway, which we'll go to next month. They've won 5 of the 7 races there, and those are the short oval package for both tracks, so similar setup. So that's something you're going to have to watch. Plus, how much realistically is the deficit from the Honda camp just of how good Joseph Newgarden, Pato Ward, and Will Power are in general at Iowa? Power mentioned, too, that the only reason he's shut out, he's never won a race, more on that in a little bit, is because of how good Joseph Newgarden was there. Newgarden's led 111 or more laps in 7 of the last Iowa starts, including 4 wins, a pair of runner-up finishes, a 4th, 5th, and 6th place result in his last 10 tries. He's won 3 of the 5 last races there, and he has 5 wins in the last 7 short oval races in general. So you look at that, and then you have Pato Award you have to deal with. Pato has been great at Gateway, 3rd, 2nd, 2nd, 4th, which that's Worldwide Technology Raceway, Gateway for short. And he's been even better at Iowa, 4th, 12th, 2nd, 1st. In his last 14 starts in general, he's finished 6th, 3rd, 2nd, 3rd, 1st, 4th, 2nd, 15th. That was an outlier. 2nd, 2nd, 1st, 4th, 2nd, 24th at Indy. That's only because he crashed while running 3rd at the end. But what's weird, though, is 3 of his 4 wins have come on the back end of a doubleheader weekend, too, which we'll have 2 races here this weekend. So he's definitely one to watch on Sunday, but can he win on Saturday, too? Combined, he and Newgarden won 7 of the last oval races. Newgarden's won 6 of the 8 by himself. He's 2 for 2 this year. So it's curious to see, is the deficit between Honda and Chevy, is it driver related? Are those guys just that much better than what Honda drivers are bring to the table? Or do they have an advantage because of Chevy and Honda found something in this test? So that's something you're going to want to watch this weekend, is the battle between the two. Does Chevy still maintain that advantage? Power said an advantage from the test was you try to balance qualifying and race trim in the test, and you get so much data, you can roll off the truck Friday and already be ready for race pace, and even qualifying trim too. Where the other teams that didn't test, it's just 1 90-minute practice session. Saturday you qualify, then you race, Sunday you race again. No other practices in between. So if you already know what you're rolling off the truck with compared to the other guys that could be searching, that's something that could stand out. Andretti and Ganassi were 2 of the teams that did test. They brought all 4 cars each. Meyer-Shank brought both cars. Ray Hall brought all 3. That's 13 of the 20 cars in the test just on those 4 Honda teams. Andretti went 1st, 11th, 12th, and 18th in the test. Their satellite team, Meyer-Shank, went 3rd and 10th. Colt Herta, he's won 2 of the last 3 poles. He got a podium finish last weekend. Can he do good at Iowa? He has in the past, but that's a lot of momentum to come with. Ganassi was 4th in Palou, 5th at Dixon, 8th in Sato, and 9th in Erickson. So those are teams to start watching. We'll have the Alex Palou video here. He talked about the test and how bad he's been at Iowa in the past. This will be the 737, Greg, Mark for Palou video. He's struggled there lately. He's not – this is a place to where the gap can open for the championship contenders. And Palou being in that test and saying how bad he was, but what he learned from this test, I thought was interesting. Here's what he said.
One of the worst weekends for me personally, not for the team though. I remember it was quite exciting for the team. But yeah, I struggled quite a lot there. Even in 2020, my first year in IndyCar, and then last year quite a lot. And being a double header, obviously it's a lot worse because it's double points, let's say, on the same weekend. But honestly, the test was good. We worked a lot on our tire deck, long runs, because Iowa is good if you can start P1, but if you have tire deck like we had, like I had, especially on my car, last year you go from 3rd to 9th in one stint, which is what happened. But I learned a lot on how to drive it better, how to get more confident. I think we made the right step. You always want more. You always want to be leading a test, especially if big competitors are not there and they are missing. So we know that they're going to be up there, Penske's and McLaren's. But still, it was good. It was positive. We learned some stuff, and hopefully that gives us some indications on how to make another step before the race.
And then I'll use this to segue into the next point, which the third topic would be, can Ganassi manage this weekend, and can Penske and McLaren capitalize? Because that's where we're at this point, because with 3 of the next 5 races on these tracks, so I talked about Worldwide Technology Raceway and Gateway, we got 2 races here. We got a week off, go to Nashville, then we go to Indy for the road course race, and then you're back at another short oval at Gateway. So that's 3 of the next 5 races, and we'll see what this test. That's why this test was the big thing. How much could Honda close the gap? But Chevy's got to capitalize too, and that's what Will Power made mention. And as I talked about, Newgarden and award stats, Power was third, second, his last 3 there. McLaughlin, another Penske guy, 10 top 5 finishes so far. And among those 10 top 5 finishes in the sport, half of them came on ovals. He was second at Texas 1 in 2021, the first doubleheader, 4th in Gateway last season. Last year, he was second again at Texas, 3rd in Iowa 2, and 3rd in Gateway. So he could be a factor in this whole thing. And between those Penske and Ganassi, or Penske and McLaren guys, that's 3rd, 5th, 6th, and 8th in points. So can they capitalize? They did last year. Can they again? Ganassi, meanwhile, they won 2 of the first 3 years at Iowa. Penske has since won 5 of the last 7. McLaren won 1 of those that they didn't win. Ganassi, since that point, they're 0 for 14. They've been, though, the next best behind the Chevy team. So that's why I look at them. Can they minimize the damage, and did the test help them maybe even become in the running for a win? Scott Dixon's never won here. He's 0 for 17. Will Power's never won here. We'll get to that in a little bit. But Dixon has 5 straight top 5 finishes at Iowa 2. He's got 3 top 8s in his last 4 at Gateway. On the season, he's had a top 7 finish in all but 1 race. So he's close. Can he bang down that door? Palou, he's finished 11th, 14th, 6th, and 13th at Iowa, 15th, 12th, 20th, and 9th at Gateway. So the door is open. But the door was open last week at Toronto. Nobody came through it because Palou came back and finished second. And you look at the season, he's got a top 8 finish in each of the 10 races run. And if you go back to last season, he's got 10 top 5s in 11 races. He's had a hot streak going on right now. You heard what he just said. So can he capitalize? Marcus Ericsson, he's been solid but not great. 9th, 8th, and 8th in Iowa, 8th and 6th in Iowa, 5th, 23rd, 9th, and 7th in Gateway. And with Ganassi being part of that test, we know what Takuma Sato can do in ovals. What does this do? Can they minimize that damage? So that's the next thing I'm going to watch. The 4th topic is, will both races look the same? This year, it's a pair of 250-lap races. Last year, the first race was 250 laps, and the second race was 300 laps. So there's varying degrees of differences here between races, and strategy can change. Now, you don't have that. And I talked to Will Power again this week about that too. We'll have that video here, the 17:30 mark, for his video. But he was telling me about that. I asked him just about that aspect. Is there any difference between the 2 races strategy-wise, since it's the same lap counter now? So here's what he had to say.
You feel this year, pair of 250 lap races instead of 250 and the next one 300. You feel similar race both days? Is there anything, it's a quick turnaround to the next day you can learn from Saturday to apply to Sunday?
Okay, yeah, I didn't even realize last year we had one of them. I thought, yeah, okay, I knew one was shorter. I thought one was like 200 and the other 250. Yeah, so it doesn't really change it much. I mean, it probably changed the strategy a bit, but it still, to me, comes down to track position, running through that traffic well. Yeah, it's more of, getting through traffic. The higher the grip, the higher the level of grip, the cooler it is, the harder it is to pass.
And speaking of track,
so for Power, is that going to make there's an extra 44 miles last year that you don't have this year. The drivers all said it could look different last year. It really didn't. Most of the guys that finished in the top 5 finished there again. Scott McLaughlin was the one exception, went from 22nd to 3rd last year. Rosenquist 26th to 7th, Hurd 24th to 12th. Everybody else is pretty much around the same spot that they finished in. So we'll see if that happens again. Doubleheader format has been interesting because we've done it 17 times and only 2 drivers have ever swept the weekend. Scott Dixon in 2013 at Toronto, and the other one being Belle Isle in 2017 with Graham Rahal. Joseph Newgarden was close last year. He had one more pit stop left, was dust in the field. He led 148 laps, crashed, and he's even concussed, crashing off turn 4 and nearly missed the next race. Luckily, he got cleared, but he couldn't pull it off either. I said that award stat, 3 of his 4 wins have come on the second leg of the doubleheader. So we know it's probably going to look a little bit different, but how much different, and can somebody come out of here with big points this weekend? So I'm watching the race distances and how those races look, because it's going to be the same distance. Is it the same race? And my final topic, and I've been teasing it here on this show, is the Dixon and Power. They've not won this year. They've not won at Iowa either. Power's 0 for 15. Dixon's 0 for 17. Is this the weekend it changes? I asked Power about that. He said he's feeling really good about Iowa. He feels good about the tracks coming up. And if you look at what he's done, as I just mentioned, his Iowa finishes, but you look at Gateway, he's finished 3rd and 6th his last 2 starts. He's also done really, really good at the other tracks after. Indy, he's won 2 of the last 3 return trips. He's won at Portland in the past. He's been good at Laguna Seca. So can he do it? Can he find a win to keep this streak going? Same with Dixon. Dixon, this is one of the few tracks he's not won at. We talked about his stats there. We talked about his stats on the season. He's 0 for 19 at St. Pete, 0 for 13 at Barber, 0 for 6 at Portland, 0 for 5 at Laguna. So what can he do? He does have the record for the most consecutive seasons with at least one trip to victory lane at 18. He's won every year since 2005. Power is next. He's won for 16 straight years. Over the next 7 races I'm watching, can these two pick up a win? So that'd be 2 wins in 7 races going to then. Can they win this weekend? They're winless there, but can they get it done? So I'm curious what it'll look like. Obviously, we got 2 races, so they've got 2 opportunities to end that streak. So you can please check out these videos, join the Discord. You can also check out CJ Radoon's F1 race preview of the Hungarian Grand Prix. That'll be available on Friday afternoon. Make sure you subscribe. We got all these motorsports videos on Prime Sports Network. Also, don't forget, if you like the show, please like it. Please like it on the button here on the YouTube channel. Hope this helps. Everything helps monetary-wise. So thank you for all your support. Thank you for all your help. And we'll talk again in a couple of weeks when we're at Nashville, the streets of Nashville in early August. Thank you.